Click here to follow a conversation with top realtor Michael Parsons.
You've done things different, which is why you're so successful. You probably had the greatest website ever, was one of the first to realize the abilities with that. So I think what we're looking for as a company, we're approaching realtors that understand it, but also those realtors that have always been on the fence of, well, do we build a website? It's going to cost us $10,000. There's all those fears. I still firmly believe that real estate agents, 20% of them sell 80% of the houses. Do you think that's potential?
You know what? I think it's a really unique business today, Scott. Let me begin by saying this. I have been in the business for 28 years.
Right.
I have spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars marketing myself, building a brand, building an image, building a portfolio of expensive homes. How do you market these houses? The biggest problem today, the market has switched, the transition has moved. People today no longer wait for Friday for the local newspaper to come out.
Right.
The Mississauga News, the Oakville Beaver, whatever the publication is that you're in. I mean, we're in Homes and Land Magazine, Mississauga News, Home News, the National Post, the Globe and Mail, you name it, we're there.
Right.
And I can honestly say that after becoming a client of Click to Follow, this is going in a totally different direction. The young people today that go out to look at a house do not read the Mississauga News.
Right.
It's an expensive, any media, print media is expensive, as you know.
Right.
Color print media today, digital print media is super expensive.
Right.
People don't have time to Friday night to flip through the paper, fold it up in their car and drive around on Saturday morning. What they're doing is they're going to the websites, they're going to Facebook, Twitter, using your Click to Follow, the Tumblr, all these places where they can get that information, and they have it on their Blackberries, they have it on their iPhones. They don't even need to be home. They can click into an area, they can go to Realtor.ca. We had an example last weekend where we posted an open house in Oakville.
Right.
I posted an open house on Realtor.ca, not realizing the impact that that would have. It wasn't print media anywhere because it was a brand new listing.
Right.
We posted it on Click to Follow. You would not believe it. The cars were there before I was there. There was probably 30 people in the span of 2 simple hours. Everybody came. More importantly, they all knew about the house before they got there.
Right.
They didn't just read an ad because I didn't do an ad. They saw it on Realtor.ca and they saw it on Click to Follow. All the information on the house was there. They knew all about it. They knew it had a pool. They knew it had 3 bedrooms. They knew the price. They knew the location. They were in the driveway. So it also creates a great thing for us as realtors that we don't have to call them back and direct them to the house, tell them where it is. They know where it is. Their Apple iPhone has that application on it that they will take it right through the GPS system to where the house is.
Yeah.
So I think you have to appeal today to these type of, unless you're dealing with a very elderly clientele, the young savvy buyers, be it in the high-end market, and there's lots of young savvy buyers out there in the high-end market today.
Right.
They've got all their information. All they need is access to the house. If we can use your company, which has done so well in promoting this and making this thing work, because you guys get it, you understand.
Right.
It's converting the old folks, or the older thinkers, is a
Right.
better word, converting the older thinkers to believe in there's a better way than Friday at 3:30 when the paper boy dumps that newspaper that blows all over your street, that's no longer environmentally friendly, that fills up your recycle bin. It's crazy. This is exactly what you need to get people out. You guys have a company that I think is great. Your staff is great. They understand. They're fresh out of school, a lot of them, so they're very forward thinkers.
Right.
They understand, they get it. We want to try and train your staff to think as buyers.
Right.
Because if they take their knowledge and they apply it to what they want to look for in a house, they're going to know where to go to look. So you better make sure as an agent today that you're up on this and that you're there. Because if you're not, you're going to lose. And I've often said in a number of marketing presentations that I've given over the years, and I do a few of them a year, that unless you're on Twitter and Facebook and you have a leading edge website, not a generic website,
Right.
that you're really not a serious player in the real estate business. That includes a website with an actual email address. You'll see lots of agents with their name is Joe Smith at royallepage.ca.
Right.
They're not a serious player. They need to be Joe Smith at smithhomes.ca, or they need to have somewhere where you can associate their name with their brand, and they've unhooked themselves. So I look at a business card and I see it's just at a Jack Jones at jackjonesrealestate.com. I know that he's taken the time to try and make himself look better,
Right.
and be connected, because these just into big huge corporate websites is a joke.
Right.
They work, but they don't work. people want to identify themselves that if you want to think real estate, you want to think michaelparsons.com. That's what we continually pound in the head of our media people that are out there. And I, quite frankly, have really thought this thing through, and I think the way your company has gone, what you guys have done, is absolutely mind-boggling. It's the way of the future. And you either hop on the bandwagon now, or you're not a serious player. And you brought up the issue about 20% of the agents making 80% of the money. I think it's higher. I think it's 10% of the agents.
You could be exactly
because 20% just don't get this yet.
Right.
And by the time they get it, a lot of the agents are a little bit older these days, and they couldn't be bothered to go to the expense. A good website, $15,000 is what we spend on a website, and we continually update it, continually do it all the time. And with click to follow, I tell you, we take a picture of a house, I post it right away from my BlackBerry, the phone rings, the email goes, it's right there. People see it. This is before, Realtor.ca picks it up. It's before MLS.ca gets it out to the brokers.
Right.
And most importantly, if it's an executive and you've got a $9 million house, like the one we're sitting in, and I post it on Facebook and send them a link, that speaks volumes.
It certainly
does. They say get with the program.
Yeah.
We have an old adage that I always say that always says, lead, follow, or get out of the way. And I think your click to follow is a great example of the follow, because that's the way of the future. And I commend you guys and your staff. I think you've done a great job in bringing this to the forefront and making people understand that there is a better way than print media. Print media, Scott, satisfies the homeowner.
Right.
Old Mrs. Jones likes to know when she gets home on Friday, there's her house, it's in the newspaper. What she fails to realize is that's not going to sell it.
Right.
Okay? Less than 3% of all homes in the newspaper are sold from newspaper ads. The internet now is almost 40%.
Well, one of the reasons we started Clicker to Follow was that we certainly have the numbers that traditional advertising, whether it's newspaper, radio, magazines, although prices to advertise in them are increasing, the actual readership is decreasing largely. And in almost every industry that we've now had a real effect on, whether it's been car dealerships, small business owners, or retailers, and especially realtors, they're after a chance to really appeal to these online customers who are spending hours a day on sites like Facebook, on sites like YouTube. Facebook these days, I believe they're just over 450 million members. Twitter itself at 130 million. YouTube itself has 2 billion videos downloaded a day. So for a realtor to have every sort of part of their branding, because you are a self-employed person who's branding yourself rather than a company, that really and truly being on these websites give you a chance to expose yourself, and then again take your home listings like this beautiful house that we're sitting in and have a chance to expose it to those people at work all day when they're not at home reading Mississauga News, or they're not going through their mailbox for every piece of literature that comes through and ends up in a recycling bin, like you said. These days with Click Here to Follow, we certainly found a chance to appeal, especially to real estate agents, and give you the start out, like you're saying, prior to MLS.ca updates.
You know what, if I can add one thing, real estate people should take your lead and spend the money that you charge. And the old story is you get what you pay for.
Right.
But if you hire Click to Follow and you follow and you buy into their fee schedule, which I think is something that's very reasonable, considering we spend thousands of dollars a month in print media and get very little back. Real estate people have to understand that this is the way of the future.
Right.
And if they, as we say, if they're worth their salt, they'll get with the program.
Great. Well, Click Here to Follow, we've certainly made everything easy for real estate agents. They're able to use their BlackBerry, which I know you're attached to all day long.
Drives you crazy.
iPhones and from laptops and desktops, easily able to promote your home listings online, and again, through your own custom-built website, and right into Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the great social media websites that millions of people a day are spending time on. Michael, thank you for having us at this beautiful home. We've had a great morning here, and we appreciate everything.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for coming in. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.